Here is the revised version with spelling errors corrected, punctuation added, and character names changed. The story remains unchanged in content. As requested, Lila claimed it was just a dare. I packed her bags and moved on with my life. And now she is blowing up my phone. Hey everyone, before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now, let's start the video. Hey guys, I've been wanting to get this off my chest for a while now, and after lurking on this sub for months, I finally decided to post my story. This is going to be a long one, so buckle up. Me, 34 male, and Lila, 30 female, had been married for 4 years, and we had a pretty solid thing going. Decent jobs, nice little house in the suburbs, regular date nights, the whole adult life package. I'm not the most romantic dude in the world or anything, but I took care of her, made sure all the bills were paid on time, and thought we were doing good. We had our routines and weekend plans, just like any normal couple. About a year ago, everything started changing when Lila joined this yoga class at the new studio that opened up near us. At first, it seemed great. She was more active, seemed happier, all that good stuff. But then she started hanging out with these 3 women from her class, Tara, Kim, and this chick Sasha, who was clearly the leader of their little group. From day one, I got bad vibes from these women. They were all in their early 30s, like us, but acted like they were still in college, always taking selfies with those stupid filters, giggling about inside jokes, and doing these dumbass challenges they found online, the kind of women who think getting wasted on a Tuesday is peak entertainment. You know the type! At first, I was actually happy for Lila. Most of our old friends had either moved away or gotten busy with kids, so I was glad she found some new people to hang with. For the first couple of months, it seemed like a positive thing. She was more upbeat, had more energy, and honestly, it gave me some time to chill and do my own thing. Win-win, right? Man, was I fucking wrong. Slowly but surely, my wife started changing, and not in a good way. Her style of clothes changed first, then the way she talked, suddenly using all this slang I'd never heard her use before, always on her phone giggling at their group chat messages. Our quiet nights watching movies turned into her being physically there but mentally checked out, constantly looking at her phone. She started going out more too. First it was once a week, then twice. Then somehow it became almost every other night. She was just hanging with the girls. I'm not some controlling, jealous husband. I don't need to know where my wife is every second or who she's texting. That's not my style. But when your partner of 4 years suddenly starts acting like a completely different person, you notice that shit. It was like watching her transform back into a college freshman right before my eyes. The real disrespect started when they began coming over to our place. The funny thing is, I'd always been super respectful of our shared space. My buddies wanted to come over for game nights or to watch sports all the time, but I always limited it to once a month max because I knew Lila valued her quiet time at home. I'd check with her before inviting anyone over, give her plenty of notice, and my friends always cleaned up after themselves out of respect for our home. Hell, I even started hosting most guy nights at my buddy Mark's place instead because his girlfriend worked nights and the house was empty anyway. That's why seeing Lila suddenly treating our place like a 24/7 party spot for her new friends felt like such a slap in the face. The same woman who used to complain if my friends stayed past 11:00 p.m. was now letting these women trash our house until 2:00 a.m. On weeknights. The first time her friends visited, Sasha took one look around and said, "Wow, so this is suburban prison, huh?" right in front of me. And Lila just laughed, didn't defend our home or our lifestyle at all. Then they started commenting on everything. Our furniture was basic, our TV shows were lame, even the food in our fridge wasn't good enough for these women. Nothing seemed to meet their standards. Then Kim started with the comments about me. Does Ryan always watch sports on weekends? That's so predictable. Again, Lila just giggled, didn't stand up for me at all. I pulled her aside later that night and told her I thought her friends were being pretty disrespectful. She rolled her eyes, something she never used to do, and told me they were just joking and that I shouldn't be so sensitive. That shit hurt, not going to lie. The Lila I married would never have dismissed my feelings like that. This wasn't about me being sensitive, this was about basic fucking respect. These women came into my house that I paid for, ate my food, and then had the nerve to mock our lifestyle, and my own wife was laughing along with them. Fuck that noise. As the weeks went on, it got worse. They'd show up unannounced on nights Lila told me would be just us. They'd blast music until the neighbors complained. They'd leave messes everywhere and never help clean up. And Lila started picking up all their worst habits. Suddenly, she was too good for our usual restaurants. Our Netflix shows were boring. The way I dressed was basic. It was like living with a stranger who looked like my wife but acted like a mean girl from some high school movie. I tried to be patient, told myself it was just a phase. Maybe she was going through some kind of early midlife crisis or something, but deep down, I knew what was happening. These new friends were driving a wedge between us, and Lila was letting them do it. The most fucked up part? I could see how they were manipulating her. They'd build her up when she was acting like them and tear her down when she acted like herself. Classic mean girl tactics. If she spent a weekend with me instead of them, she'd get passive-aggressive texts about how they missed her and how much fun they had without her. Then she'd feel guilty and spend the next 3 nights out with them to make up for it. I was losing my wife to these toxic women, and she couldn't even see it happening, or worse, maybe she could see it and just didn't care. Either way, I was starting to feel like a stranger in my own marriage, like I was just the boring husband who paid the bills while she was out living her real life with her cool new friends. By about 6 months in, we were barely talking, just passing each other in the hallway, giving quick updates about schedules, the kind of conversations you'd have with a roommate you're not particularly close with. I knew something had to change. I couldn't keep living like this. It wasn't even about the lack of attention. It was about the complete lack of respect. My wife was treating me like I was some kind of obstacle to her happiness instead of her partner, and I was getting really fucking tired of it. After multiple months of this shit, I finally snapped. It happened on a Friday night when I was looking forward to just chilling after a long-ass work week. I got home early, thinking I'd order a pizza and maybe play some Call of Duty. I opened the door to my house, and bam, it was fucking chaos. Lila hadn't even texted me that people were coming over, just decided our house was suddenly party central. Sasha, Kim, Tara, and like 3 other women I'd never even seen before were spread across our living room with music blasting so loud the windows were practically shaking. They had brought their own booze but were using all our glasses and shit. There were chips and dip all over my coffee table, shoes thrown everywhere, and there's Lila, right in the middle of it all, acting like this is totally normal, like hijacking our house without warning is just another Friday night. What pissed me off even more was that they'd taken over my gaming area in the basement, the one space in the house that was supposed to be just mine. I'd spent 3 years building that setup. Custom PC I built myself, racing chair I saved up for 6 months to buy, limited edition controllers for my PS5, including that Spider-Man. One that's impossible to find now, had it all arranged perfectly with surround sound and mood lighting. One time, I found Sasha and 2 of her friends taking selfies at my desk, posing with my stuff like it was some kind of prop for their Instagram. One of them had her wine glass right next to my keyboard, and another was sitting in my chair wearing my gaming headset. The worst part? I watched in real time as Tara knocked over her full glass of red wine all over my limited edition controller. She just giggled, gave a half-ass oops, sorry, and dabbed at it with a napkin before going right back to taking pictures. Lila saw the whole thing and just laughed. It's fine, Ryan never uses that one anyway, except I did use it. It was my favorite controller, and she knew that. What really got me, though, was when they started playing these stupid games, truth or dare, would you rather, all that high school crap. I was in the kitchen grabbing something when I overheard Sasha ask Lila, would you rather sleep with Chris Hemsworth or get Ryan to stop wearing those lame t-shirts he always has on? And all of them, including my wife, laughed their asses off like I'm some kind of joke in my own house. That was it. That was the moment I decided I was done being disrespected like this. I didn't make a scene, though. I'm not the type to yell and throw people out. I just went upstairs and spent the night playing Xbox with my headphones on. Let them have their fun. But in my head, I was making plans. The noise didn't die down until after 2:00 a.m. when they finally left, and Lila came upstairs all tipsy and happy like nothing was wrong. She tried to climb into bed and cuddle up to me, but I wasn't having it. I told her we needed to talk in the morning when she was sober. She pouted but passed out pretty quick. The next morning, I made coffee and waited for her to drag herself out of bed. When she finally came downstairs, looking like death warmed over, I got straight to the point. This shit with your friends has to stop, I said. I didn't yell or anything, just stated it as a fact. She immediately got defensive, giving me this look like I was being ridiculous. What are you talking about? I'm talking about them coming over whenever they want. I'm talking about them disrespecting our home, our relationship, and me directly to my face. And I'm talking about you laughing along with it. She rolled her eyes, classic Lila move lately. They're just having fun, Ryan. It's not that serious. It's serious to me, I said. These people are changing you, and not in a good way. The Lila I married wouldn't have let anyone talk shit about her husband or her home. That hit a nerve. She started getting worked up, voice getting louder. So what? I'm not allowed to have friends now? You want me to just sit at home every night, watching your boring shows and doing nothing with my life? And that's when I knew just how far gone she was. In her mind, our life together was boring and nothing. All the years we'd built together, all the memories and inside jokes and quiet nights, that was all worthless to her now. That's not what I said, I replied, keeping my voice calm. You can have friends, but these people, they're toxic and they're making you toxic too, she scoffed. You don't even know them. I know enough, I said. I know they've got you acting like you're 21 again. I know they've got you treating me like I'm just some buzzkill in your way instead of your husband. And I know I'm sick of it. We went back and forth like this for almost an hour, her defending them, me laying out all the ways they'd been destroying our marriage. Finally, I'd had enough of the circular argument. It's them or me, Lila. She froze. What? You heard me? Either you distance yourself from these people who clearly have no respect for me or our marriage, or I'm done. That's not fair, she shouted. You can't make me choose between my husband and my friends. I'm not making you choose anything, I said. I'm telling you what I will and won't accept in my life. And I won't accept being treated like garbage in my own home by my own wife. She stormed off after that, grabbed her purse, and left without saying where she was going. I figured she was running to Sasha to cry about her controlling husband. Fine by me! I meant what I said. Lila didn't come home that night or the next. By Sunday evening, I was starting to wonder if that was it, if our marriage was over just like that. Then, around 9:00 p.m., I heard her key in the door. She looked like she'd been crying, sat down on the couch next to me but not touching. We sat in silence for a while before she finally spoke. I don't want to lose you, she said quietly. I didn't respond right away, wanted to hear what else she had to say. I'll stop hanging out with them so much. I didn't realize how it was making you feel. Part of me wanted to say, fuck. I've been telling you exactly how it made me feel for months, but I held my tongue. This was progress, at least. It's not about how often you see them, I explained. It's about the way they treat me and the way you let them. It's about respect, Lila. She nodded, still not looking at me. I know. I'm sorry. I'll talk to them about it. I shook my head. No, If you have to explain to grown women why they shouldn't disrespect someone's husband in his own house, they're not worth keeping around. She didn't argue, which surprised me, just nodded again. Okay, I'll stop seeing them. I wasn't sure if I believed her, but it was a start. We spent that night just sitting together, watching TV, not really talking much. The tension was still there, but at least we'd taken a step in the right direction, or so I thought. For the next couple of weeks, things seemed better. Lila was home more often. The constant texting slowed down. No more surprise visits from the mean girl squad. We started doing stuff together again, cooking dinner, watching shows, normal couple stuff. I put in extra effort too, trying to show her that our life together wasn't boring if we both actually participated in it. I took her to that fancy Italian place she always wanted to try, planned a weekend trip to the beach, even sat through one of those romantic comedies she likes without complaining. I was really trying to make it work, to remind her why we got together in the first place. Things were actually pretty decent between us. We were talking again, spending time together. I really thought we might be turning a corner. But you know that feeling in your gut when something's just off? I started noticing little things that didn't add up. Lila would say she was going to the grocery store but come back 3 hours later with just a few items. Or she'd claim she had to stay late at work. But then I'd check our credit card statement and see a charge from some restaurant across town during that time. The biggest red flag was her phone. Before all this drama, Lila never cared if her phone was sitting out. She'd leave it on the coffee table, go take a shower, whatever. But now, that thing was glued to her 24/7, even took it to the bathroom with her, and she changed her passcode. I noticed her using a different pattern one day. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who demands to go through my wife's phone, but when someone suddenly starts acting shady about their phone after years of not giving a fuck, something's up. I didn't confront her right away. Part of me didn't want to know the truth. We'd just gotten to a somewhat better place, and I didn't want to blow it up if I was just being paranoid. But another part of me knew I wasn't imagining things. Then, one night, about a month after our big talk, Lila announced she was going to her coworker, Sarah's place, for a girls' movie night. Sarah from accounting? I asked. I thought you said she was annoying. Lila shrugged, not making eye contact. She's not that bad. We've been getting lunch together lately. This was news to me. Lila had never mentioned getting closer to Sarah before, but whatever. I tried to be supportive. Cool, have fun, I said, not wanting to seem controlling. Lila seemed relieved that I didn't question it further, too relieved, if I'm being honest. She spent like an hour getting ready. Full makeup, hair done, perfume, the works for a movie night at a coworker's house. Something didn't add up. After she left, I tried to distract myself with video games, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being played. Around 10:00 p.m., I decided to text her casually. How's the movie? I wrote. 20 minutes later, good, watching The Notebook, lol. That's when I knew she was lying. Lila hates. The Notebook has always said it's the most overrated romance movie ever. There's no way in hell she would willingly sit through it, let alone seem happy about it. I almost called her out right then, but decided to play it cool. Have fun, I texted back. Then I settled in to wait. She got home around 1:00 a.m., tipsy, but not wasted, had that post-bar glow, not post-movie night relaxation. Smelled like she'd sprayed more perfume to cover something up. I pretended to be half asleep when she came to bed. The next morning, I casually asked, So, how was Sarah's place? It was good, she said, way too quickly. Her apartment is really cute. Oh yeah? Where does she live again? I asked, keeping my tone light. Lila hesitated. Over by that mall, the one with the Nordstrom. So vague, so obviously bullshit, but I just nodded and changed the subject. This pattern continued for a couple more weeks. Her going to the gym but coming back without looking like she'd worked out. Her meeting a client for coffee on a Saturday, she's never worked weekends in her life, her bumping into an old friend that somehow required her to be gone for 5 hours. I started to think that this wasn't just about her shitty friends anymore. It's about her character, her willingness to lie to my face day after day, and the complete lack of respect. I decided that if she wanted to act so single badly, then so be it. But I started making plans, looking into what a divorce would mean financially. But then something happened that blew everything wide open, something that forced my hand and led to the most satisfying revenge I've ever taken in my life. It was a Thursday night. Lila had told me she was going to her cousin's place to help plan a baby shower seemed believable enough. Her cousin Melissa was pregnant and due in a few months. I didn't think much of it. I was just chilling at home, playing Call of Duty with my headset on, completely in the zone. My phone buzzed a few times, but I ignored it till I finished the match. When I finally checked, I saw a Snapchat notification. It was from Tara, who I'd added months ago when things were still good. I opened it without thinking much about it. What I saw made my stomach fucking drop. It was a video taken at what was clearly a bar or club, and there, in the center of the frame, was Lila, my wife, the woman who was supposedly at her pregnant cousin's house planning a baby shower. But that's not even the worst part. She was sitting on some random dude's lap, not just sitting there either, leaning back against his chest, laughing while this guy had his hands on her waist. The caption read, "Girls' Night Getting Wild." I watched it 3 times, making sure it was definitely her. It was no mistaking that blue top she'd worn out of the house earlier, or her laugh, or her face when the camera zoomed in. In that moment, I felt a weird sense of calm wash over me. It's like she gave me confirmation to go for the divorce without any hesitation. My dad had always told me, son, when someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. This was Lila showing me exactly who she was, and all the pieces suddenly clicked into place. I remembered how my old man handled things when he caught my mom cheating years ago. No screaming, no throwing shit, no drama. He just quietly packed her bags, called her a cab, and closed that chapter of his life. So that's exactly what I did, cold, calculated, and final, the way a man handles business when there's nothing left to salvage. I just typed, "nice baby shower planning," then put the phone down and went back to my game. Not even 5 minutes later, my phone started blowing up. Lila kept calling. I let it ring. On the 6th call, I finally picked up, didn't say anything, just waited. "Ryan?" Her voice was already shaky. "Ryan, listen, that video isn't what it looks like." I almost laughed. "Looks like you sitting on some random dude's lap in a bar when you're supposed to be at your cousin's." It was just a stupid dare. Sasha dared me to sit on this guy's lap for 10 seconds. It meant nothing. So not only was she at a bar instead of her cousin's, she was with Sasha, the exact person she swore she'd stopped hanging out with. The betrayal was layered like a fucking onion. "Cool story," I said, keeping my voice completely flat. "Ryan, please." She was starting to cry now. "Don't be mad." "It was just a joke." "I'm not mad," I said, and I meant it. "I'm just done." "What?" "What do you mean done?" "I mean, I'm done with the lies, done with the disrespect, done with you." She started full on sobbing. "You can't mean that. It was just a stupid dare. A dare you only did because you thought I wouldn't find out. Would you have done it if I was there?" Silence. "Yeah, that's what I thought. Your stuff will be packed when you get home. Find somewhere else to sleep tonight." "Ryan, you can't just..." I hung up, turned my phone off, then I got to work. I'm not a dramatic guy, didn't throw her clothes out the window or anything like that. Just methodically packed everything neatly into suitcases and garbage bags, left them in the living room, changed the locks on the bedroom and bathroom, changed all the passwords, Netflix, Hulu, Wi-Fi, everything, left a note on top of her stuff. Hope the dare was worth it. Then I crashed at my brother's place for the night. Didn't want to be around for the crying and screaming I knew was coming. My brother didn't ask questions when I showed up at his door at midnight. With an overnight bag, just handed me a soda and said, "Spare room's all yours, man." I've always appreciated that about him, knows when to talk and when to just be there. That night, I turned my phone back on to find 37 missed calls and about 50 texts. All variations of the same shit. "Please come home so we can talk. It wasn't what it looked like. You're overreacting. Where am I supposed to go? I'm sorry. Please just talk to me." I didn't respond to any of them, just blocked her number and went to sleep. The next day, I went to work like normal, focused on my job, tried not to think about the shitstorm waiting for me at home. Around lunchtime, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. It was Lila, of course, using someone else's phone since I'd blocked hers. "Ryan, I slept in my car last night. Please let me come home. We need to talk about this." I blocked that number too. Then I got a different kind of message from Tara. "Ryan, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you guys were having problems. I wouldn't have posted that if I knew." Interesting. So it wasn't a deliberate attempt to expose Lila, just a drunk girl posting party videos without thinking. I actually appreciated the honesty. Then another from Kim. "Ryan, Lila's a mess. She's saying you threw her out over nothing. Is that true?" I didn't respond. Those girls survive on drama shit spread fast after that. The truth came out eventually. And suddenly, Lila's best friends weren't so supportive anymore. Turns out Sasha had been pushing Lila to flirt with this guy all night just to see if you still got it, she'd said, but when Lila actually got caught and everything blew up, Sasha wanted nothing to do with it. "This is your mess," she told Lila. "Don't drag me into your marriage problems." Just like that, her ride-or-die girls abandoned her. Even Tara, who'd known Lila the longest, refused to let her crash at her place. The only place Lila had left to go was her parents. But I made sure they knew what happened first. Simple text to her mom, "Hey, Miss S. Clark, just a heads up, Lila might be coming to stay with you. You might want to ask her why we're separating before you take her side." By the time Lila showed up at their doorstep, they already knew she'd been out clubbing and sitting on random guys' laps while lying about where she was. Later that day, I went home to grab some more of my stuff. The house was empty. Lila had obviously come and gone. Her bags were still there, but she'd clearly rifled through them, probably grabbing essentials. There was a tearful handwritten note on the kitchen counter that I didn't even bother to read, just crumpled it up and threw it away. I stayed at my brother's for a week, gave myself time to cool off, think about what I wanted to do next. Lila showed up while I was at work, left her key in the mailbox with another note I didn't read, and that was it. 4 years of marriage ended by a 10-second Snapchat video. I filed for divorce the following Monday, and when you don't have kids and most of your assets are separate anyway, it's surprisingly straightforward. Lila tried one more time to talk to me, showing up at my office. I told the receptionist I was in a meeting and had security escort her out. Sounds cold, I know, but by that point, I just wanted it over with. Some of you might be thinking this was an overreaction to a drunken mistake, and maybe if it had been an isolated incident, I might have been willing to hear her out. But it wasn't. It was the culmination of months of disrespect, lies, and gaslighting. The video just gave me the evidence I needed to finally pull the trigger. And honestly, once I made the decision to end things, I felt nothing but relief, like I'd been carrying this heavy weight for months and could finally put it down. Since cutting her out, everything's been on the up and up for me. Been hitting the gym 5 days a week. And honestly, the results are showing. Down 25 lbs of fat, gained actual muscle for the first time since college, and my confidence is through the roof. Even started getting compliments from random people, which never happened before. Meanwhile, Lila's life turned into a complete shit show. With me gone, she had to face the real world, had to go full-time at that job she hated because she couldn't afford her lifestyle anymore. Her parents weren't exactly thrilled about their 30-year-old daughter moving back home after fucking up her marriage, so that situation was tense as hell. After a couple of months, she moved in with random Craigslist roommates, because even her parents were driving her crazy. Her car died too, so now she's taking the bus everywhere like a teenager. The most satisfying part? Those amazing friends who were supposedly so important, they completely abandoned her ass. Saw on Instagram that Sasha, Tara, and Kim were still doing their girls' nights and stupid dares. Just without Lila. They literally replaced her with some new chick, didn't even bother tagging Lila in their posts anymore. So much for ride or die friendship. Ran into her at the grocery store about 5 months after our split wasn't planned. Just one of those awkward moments. I was grabbing stuff for a cookout, looking good not to brag. But the gym was paying off and turned down the cereal aisle. And there she was. She looked like absolute shit, not just messy, but like life was grinding her down, dark circles, messy bun, wearing sweats. Definitely not the look she'd wear to impress her fancy friends. When she saw me, she froze. I could see all these emotions on her face: shock, hope, embarrassment, desperation. For a second, I thought about saying something, but then I remembered all the disrespect, all the lies, all the gaslighting. So I just looked right through her like she wasn't even there, grabbed my Captain Crunch, and walked past without a word. Heard her quietly say, "Ryan," as I passed, but I just kept walking, didn't look back. That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "I saw you today. You look really good. I miss you. I know I messed up, and I'm sorry. I really am." Read it once, deleted it, blocked the number, didn't feel anything at all. That's when I knew I was truly free. The real cherry on top came a couple of weeks ago. Got a message from Kim, of all people. She wanted to let me know I definitely made the right call. Apparently, Lila had been telling everyone I was controlling and paranoid. But Sasha got drunk and admitted Lila had been hooking up with random guys for months before I caught her. That lap dance wasn't just a dare, she'd been flirting with that dude all night. And went home with him after. Can't say I was shocked deep down. I knew there was more to it than what I saw on Snapchat, but it was still validating to have it confirmed. The whole toxic friend group imploded too. Sasha and Tara had a massive fight over some guy, and Kim distanced herself after realizing how toxic they all were. And yeah, here I am now, healthier, happier, and more at peace than I've been in years. No regrets, no what ifs. Just grateful I had the strength to walk away from someone who didn't value what we had. For any of you going through similar shit, there's life after betrayal.